Today we are talking about the independent music distributor Ditto. This platform is actually very unique. It has a very specific niche audience. So let's get into exactly who should be using Ditto. What's up, music meeples? My name is Kendra, and in the game of music marketing, strategy is everything. Let's get into it. In this video, we're going to do three things. First, I'm going to talk about all of the main features of Ditto. Then we are going to set up an account together so you can see step by step what that looks like. And then finally, at the end, we are going to go step by step through releasing a track on Ditto so you can see exactly how it works. To begin, let's start talking about the best features of Ditto. Number one, unlimited distribution. With their annual subscription on Ditto, you can release as much music as you want. If you are committed to releasing music every month or maybe even every week, then this platform is going to be amazing because you can release as much as you want as long as you have that annual subscription. You don't have to pay extra for each release. The number two great thing about Ditto is that it does have global distribution. So yes, you're gonna get on all of the big ones like Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, all of those things, but it is going to distribute your music globally to a ton of different platforms so that everywhere people listen to music, they can find you and your songs. Number three thing about Ditto that we love is that you can create pre-save links. So if you want to announce your song and send out a pre-save link, you can create that directly in the Ditto interface. Number four is a really neat feature of Ditto, and they offer AI mastering of your tracks. Now, it can be really challenging as a beginning independent artist to have the funds to be able to afford professional mastering. Of course, working with a professional is always going to get you the best quality sound, but if you are just getting started, this is a really neat tool that you can use to help take your music a little bit to the next level. Of course, AI is not going to compare to a real person who knows what they're doing in the industry, but it's there as a really neat tool to play around with, so definitely a pro. Number five, Ditto actually does register your music with the official charts in the music industry. Even though you might be starting out super small, you might not have a lot of streams, as you begin to grow and as you begin to rank, Ditto will actually register you with the chart. So if you absolutely explode and you have an amazing following, you don't have to go through an extra step to be registered with the official charting world. For example, Billboard. If you want to be on the Billboard Top 100, they will register you for that. Number six is ISRC and UPC code. So these are like the numbers that help track your music in the digital space. Every single song has a very specific code that it is assigned. Think about if you're shopping at a store, there's a barcode on each tag and each one's just a little bit different, marking the different color, the different size. Same thing with music. Every single song is going to be assigned a very specific code, and Ditto will take care of that process for you. Number seven is interesting because Ditto actually provides a worldwide publishing administrative service. This is a service that helps make sure that you can collect all of your royalties across all of the different platforms where people are using your music. Pretty cool. Number eight, one of my favorite things, is that Ditto does provide detailed analytics. So you can see how are your songs performing, which songs are performing better than others, what are the demographics looking like. This is really going to help you inform on how to grow your audience because you can see what tracks work and you can start to make more music that is similar to what the audience wants. Number nine, there are actually quite a few marketing features on Ditto that are pretty great. So there is a feature, for example, where they will help you pitch to playlists, which I know can be a very stressful process. It also has a lot of articles on how to promote your music on social media. So some really neat things. It's not super extensive, but they have a few things there that are worth checking out. Number 10, Ditto offers sync licensing. So if you're a beginner, you might not know what that means. Sync licensing is when your music is used, say, in a TV show or a movie. Let's say your song would be perfect for a commercial and a company wants to use it. They need to acquire a sync license. So you can actually register those through Ditto, and you may need to also work with a performing rights organization on top of this, but it's a great feature that you can get started in Ditto. Number 11 is customer support. Now, I have personally not used Ditto's customer support, but it does say that they have 24/7 customer support. Of course, a lot of that 24/7 support is going to be like an AI chatbot, which isn't the best quality, but from what I've heard, generally, if the AI auto responses are not helping you, then someone who is qualified to be able to help you will eventually get in contact with you. So it might take a little bit of time to get a real person to work with, but they do have a 24/7 chat that you can ask for help. So when you're working on your music at 2 a.m., you don't have to wait until 8 a.m. the next morning. Number 12, Ditto's actually really great about not having a lot of extra hidden fees. They're straightforward with what they put out as their annual plans and what is included. So I really appreciate that transparency that they have. Number 13, they have a label service. So some of you are just one artist. All you want to do is release music as an independent artist. However, if you are starting a label and you want to help manage multiple artists, you can create a label account through Ditto so that you can manage multiple profiles as an acting label, which is pretty cool. And number 14, they do have some great tools for collaborations and splits. This can be a very complicated world where you are trying to share the revenue with people who helped and collaborated on different tracks. So Ditto does have features to help you with that. I actually am gonna have a full series on how to do splits on all of these different platforms coming up soon. So if you haven't already, I would love if you would take a chance to subscribe. And if you click the little bell, you'll be notified when those splits tutorials go live on my channel. Okay, now that we know the basics of what Ditto is and what it does for you, let's take a look at how we can set up an account with Ditto. All right, let's begin. Let's go through this together step by step. Here we have right on the front page, it says release unlimited music everywhere, upload to all platforms, and access our industry tools. Free for 30 days. That's exciting. I want to start a free trial. Let's do that. When you are setting up your free trial, obviously you have to choose an email address. musictubemarketing@gmail.com and sign up. There is an option here to sign up with your Gmail account if you want to do that. You will also have to go through one of these verifications to prove you're not a robot. Here we go. All right, so that was really easy. I am going to accept the cookies for this website. It says, welcome to Ditto Music. We've just sent a confirmation email. So now I'm gonna hop over into my MusicTube marketing email account and verify this account. If you need help setting up any of this, if you just don't want to deal with it on your own, I do help artists get their distribution platform set up. I help them manage their distribution of new singles. I help basically in all things music business administration. So if you want, feel free to reach out to me and I'll see if I have room on my client list to fit you in. Within a minute, I had it in my inbox. Very simple setup here. Just need to click verify my email. That was really easy. Setting up an account with Ditto took me maybe 3 minutes, if that. And now we can get into the next most important process, which is how to actually release your music on Ditto. Okay, now I really like this clean interface. I feel like some of the other music distribution platforms have like really dark, moody themes, which is fine, but it can make it a little difficult to find what you need. Here we have a very clear message. Do you want to do a standard release? Or do you want to do electronic or dance music release? Now this is something that is unique to Ditto. Normally it just asks you if you have a single track or an album. This asks about electronic and dance music. Let's see some more about what this is. Let's create electronic mix 1. Okay, now we get into the release information. This is gonna be all of the basic things that you need to know. I did get just a pop-up here right now, and it says, before you get started, here are some important rules. Let's go over these rules. One of the notes that it has is making sure that if you have already released this song with a different distributor, there are some specific steps that you need to take to do this properly. Let's read directly what it says. If you're moving your music to Ditto from another distributor, please make sure to take down your music with your current distributor before re-uploading, because if you try to upload a new song before you take it down off of your other one, it will get denied because you can't have 2 identical tracks out in the world. I got a cat this week, by the way. Anyway, okay, So also it does talk about artwork here. So number one, artwork must be high quality and not blurred. That seems pretty obvious, but you'd be amazed how many people just kind of throw up a whatever image that they want. Also make sure that it doesn't have a lot of extra text. It shouldn't have pricing, anything like that on there. I highly recommend using Canva because that, especially if you have the pro account, allows you to create larger images in the exact dimensions you need. If you need help creating your album artwork, I'd be happy to help with that as well. Just send me an email and I can help you design your artwork. Number three is about using explicit content. Make sure that if you're checking that box, it actually is explicit content. Even if your song isn't meant for kids, that doesn't necessarily mean it's explicit. So it seems like they've had an issue where some people are clicking explicit, like to be safe, but especially if you have electronic dance music that doesn't even have any dialogue or, vocalizations in it, then you don't need to click explicit. There's nothing explicit in that. It also wants you to have a full song. It doesn't want you to just like have a running beat going and then just cut off abruptly. There should be an actual beginning and end to your music. This comes more into music composition, not my area of expertise at all, but just keep that in mind. Don't just have it on a loop and then stop abruptly. It should have a clear ending to the music. And last thing that they warn about is they don't want prolonged silences. So sometimes there's sort of a fade out in the middle of the song and then it builds back up. It shouldn't be longer than 5 seconds, otherwise they're gonna deny your release. Okay, now that we've gone over all of the big warnings that they give us, let's continue with our release. Electronic Mix 1. Copyright holder. This is very important and comes back to those splits. If you wrote and created this entire piece of music on your own, you're fine. You are the copyright holder. If you collaborated with others, you need to have a contract ahead of time deciding who is the copyright owner. Is there going to be important splits within it? And just make sure that you know if you are claiming copyright that it is all original work to you. The copyright is for the specific sound recording of this. This can be a little bit challenging, so let's look more in it. If the release is controlled by a record label, then you would need to add the label here. So if you are completely independent, you are the copyright holder for this recording. But if you work with a label, they are likely the copyright holder for the publishing rights of this specific track. And then you add your year. Next, you have production holder and record label. Here's an interesting thing that you'll come across on Ditto that you don't see on other platforms. They make reference to Beatport. So Beatport is an online service that is really for releasing electronic, dance music, DJing, things like that. And in order to distribute your music on Beatport, you have to have a Beatport account. This is an extra step that's a little bit frustrating, but it's just one other account you do need to create. In order to continue, we need to set up a specific artist plan. So let's take a look at what those plans are. I'm gonna put my name as Kendra, create an artist. I'm creating this new artist. And then is the artist's first ever release? Is this the artist's first ever release on music platforms? If you have released music on DistroKid or CD Baby, this would be no. If you have never done anything and you're just starting out, you would click yes. Then what I really like about this is it does allow you to add additional artists, especially in the electronics dance mix. Often you are going to have collaborations, you're going to be working with other people, and so you can actually add other artists onto this track right here, which is amazing. And in this, you do have a primary artist, and then you have the collaborators. When you are creating these different artists, there are 3 options that you can choose when you're adding your collaborators. There's the primary artist, there are the featured artists, and there are remixers. So in the electronic music industry, you're gonna see these different titles. What's the difference between a featured artist and a remixer? So a featured artist is going to be included on the track. So they are providing their voice, they are providing their skill, they are providing part of the music in the track that you can hear what they are creating. Now the remixer is actually the person who, just like it sounds, remixes a track that already exists. So a featured artist is included on the original track. A remixer will take the original track and They are creating a new mix that features the original track, but they are not part of the original track to begin with. So once you have all of the details figured out of who the other artists and collaborators are on this track, next you get to your artwork. There are some specific details here that you need to pay attention to. For example, 3000 by 3000 pixels. This is a very specific requirement that they have, and they say it needs to be at least 3000 by 3000. That is a very large image file, and so I recommend using Canva, creating a custom document that is a custom size 3000 by 3000 pixels, and actually building your artwork in Canva itself. Again, if you need help, just email me. I can help you with this process. I do have a pro account, so if you would rather just hire me to do your artwork, I would be happy to help you out with that. That way you don't have to invest in a Canva Pro account. But let's keep looking at the details if you do want to do it on your own. You cannot have social media logos or handles. You cannot have website links. You cannot have brand or record label logos. So this is not an advertisement. This is the artwork that best represents your music. There should not be any text other than the artist's name and the name of the release. That is the only text that you can include. So you are not adding other layers to it. It is an image that represents the art, your name, and the name of the track. Nothing else. Bare bones. And if you do not have the proper artwork set up, they're going to reject your release, and it's going to make the process so much more lengthy and frustrating. So just do it right the first time. Next, you get to pick your genres. There are like 100 different genres in here. Especially one thing that is great about Ditto that sets it apart from the others is most of the other platforms, it's just gonna be like, oh, it's country, it's folk music, it's children's music. This really is the ideal platform for those who are doing electronic dance mixes, who are doing DJing, who are doing more specific to that genre. And then these are sort of the subcategories. We have, let's see, like big room electro house, big beat. We have progressive, we have chill out, we have acid jazz. You know, like there's all of these very specific things that a standard musician would, or even a standard person in general, like what in the world is that even mean? And so this is really going to be niched down to a specific audience. Let's choose DJ tools. And then secondary genre, it's the same exact list, but you can just click an additional genre, and the language. Okay, let's hit next. Now, this is going to have you upload your music. You just drag or drop the files. I love this interface. It's so simple, so clean. I absolutely love it. Here are the requirements for your audio files. So it must be in a WAV or MP3 file. That's standard across all of the platforms, but it does say that they prefer WAV file. So might as well do WAV file. And this file size can be no larger than 200 megabits. I think that's what MB stands for. All right, and then you just have to accept their terms and conditions. It says, yes, I'm giving you permission to send my music out into the world. Yes, this is mine. I'm not pretending to be anybody else. These are all really standard terms and conditions. I really like that they have these specifically outlined as 3 check boxes. And then one other thing that they have here is the covers and copyrighted material. When you are doing electronic music, there is a lot of derivative work. There's a lot of work that sort of incorporates music from other artists. And so it's very important that you are logging your work properly, that if you are a remixer, that you're not saying this is an original track. If you are doing a derivative work, meaning you are taking little bits of other people's songs, you have to file that, and you have to give credit to the original artist. Because the copyright in these types of songs can be so difficult, it does ask up front, are you going to upload your copyright documentation? And you can choose, if you don't have it yet, then just say I'm doing it without uploading it, or it gives you a chance to upload the file that you need that says you are the copyright owner. Okay, now here's where it's fun, where you get to specifically, if you want, choose a date to release. And they have a couple different options here. It says 10 days from now or later is an option. Or you can do a specific date with a pre-release for $40. Or you can do it as soon as possible for $40. Now, here's the thing. It shows you this calendar. If you want to choose a specific date, you can. However, if you want it to be released like today, then you have to pay extra. This is kind of a negative compared to some of the other music distribution platforms. For example, I think like CD Baby and DistroKid, it's up pretty much immediately. And there is a long waiting process for Ditto. It says like 10 days or longer. So there is going to be a waiting process here. If you are choosing Ditto as your music distributor, you want to make sure you are planning ahead for your releases so that you don't have to pay rush fees. Okay, and then it gives you the option, you can choose, you can add specific countries, or if you want, you can register with the different charts. Now, if you are just beginning, I would skip this. Honestly, like if you're not gonna be on the Billboard 100 yet, I would wait until you have a better following to do this because it does cost extra. You can just do worldwide for $79, or you can choose specific US Ireland, US Canada, or Australia for $30 each. So if you want to, just for fun, you have the extra funds, go for it. Be added to the charts, might as well. But if you're just starting out, I wouldn't spend the extra money here. This is an interesting thing. On here, you can charge for your tracks. Now, oftentimes, the music that is being released in a standard genre like country music isn't going to have this here. It's just going to have, oh, each song is like 99 cents or whatever. This actually gives you a variety to choose, low, medium, or high. It will change the price based on the different stores. A lot of people in the electronic music industry are going, oh, I have a cat, sorry. Okay, so the pricing you choose is medium, low, or high. And then you can choose which stores you want to distribute to. There's so many, it's like over 100. And then if you would like, you can actually sign up with Beatport directly within this distribution platform, within this checkout. You can skip this if you don't want to distribute to Beatport, but if you do want to sign up for Beatport, it's $49. Now there is an interesting option that comes up next, which is, do you want your music to be released to future stores? So if a new streaming platform comes out, do you want your music to be considered for that new platform? And you can choose yes or no. And then once you have all of that filled out, you can add your music to your cart. There you have it. That is releasing a song with Ditto.